The God Gamer Gauntlet. 3 games, 6 lives on each game, and 9 hours to complete the entire thing. The God Gamer Gauntlet for years has been some of my most viewed streams. Why? Well, people like stakes. When there's something on the line, something to lose, something to win, people want to stick around and see what the hell happens. And on this day, the 3 games in question were Slay the Spire, Peglin, Poggin, and The Binding of Isaac. In each game, you get 6 lives. Now, in order to make things interesting and entertaining, it's not like if I just lose 6 lives on Slay the Spire in an hour, we all just pack it up and go home. If I need an extra life, if I need a revive in any particular game, it costs me 5 gifted subs to my chat. But that 9 hours, however, is not a time that I can extend. Sort of. You'll see in a minute. In Slay the Spire, I needed to complete an Ascension 25 randomizer run. That means that everything in the entire game is completely bonkers off the wall. You can find Awaken one on floor 2. You can find a single Jawworm as your Act 3 boss fight. That's usually the way that it goes. The hard shit early. Get fucking ready. You're about to get blasted. In the second game of Peglin, you have to complete a Crucible 7 run, the hardest difficulty in that game, but where you replace all of your starting stones with Inferno Balls. I think that's Infernorbs, Infern Balls. Balls that are on fire. Fireballs. Why don't they just call them fire? The orb that anytime that you throw them deals damage to you, as well as they're a lot lighter than the average orb, so it takes a little bit getting used to because that's not what you're usually used to. There's not many orbs in the game that function like that. And finally, in The Binding of Isaac, easily the hardest challenge by far on the entire day, I needed to complete a Tainted Lost run, arguably the hardest character in the game, to Ubermom, arguably the hardest boss to reach in the game. It was not going to be easy. If I cannot complete the God Gamer Gauntlet, I have to tattoo a tick on my face. If you know the story behind the tick in my life, then it's hilarious. If you don't know, just know that it's very embarrassing and I don't want to do it. It's a temporary tattoo, of course, but it is one that lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks and looks very realistic. You can look up Inkbox tattoos yourself. But yeah, either way, definitely don't want to do that. But I, frostprime, was a confident man, and I went in to Slay the Spire, ready to take it on, and I got a deck full of garbage, writhing mass on floor 1, and oh no. So I got back on the horse. I wasn't going to let it take me down. I get to floor 16. I've already got Snecko Eye, and it's Awakened one, and I die again. I boot it up again. I start out with Brimstone. My chat is full of pogs. And I bet you'll never guess who I found on floor 7. It rhymes with pain. The 4th life. Only a few more left before I need to start already gifting subs to chat. And I start out with a God run. An Omniscience and a Bloodletting already added to my deck, along with one very key power, Omega. Because you see, in the randomizer, you can find literally anything. You can find a wound in a shop, you can find an apparition as a card reward, and you can find an unpacked, ready to go, ready to blast Omega. And it starts to perform and absolutely carry the run. And that alongside of an early bird face turn made sure that I was completely topped off on HP. And the Spire started to fall. I even ran into Time Eater on floor 13. Just like the previous runs, running into the early Act 3 boss usually is a death sentence, but not for this deck. Turns out that if you Omniscience and Omega and you're dealing 100 damage per turn, even the 480 health from the Time Snail ain't gonna be enough to take you down. Even as my Act 1 boss, a couple of familiar faces show up, and not even them can handle the power of the double Echo-formed Omniscience godlike Omega run. All right. Act 2, absolutely zero problem. We find fight on top of fight on top of fight. Awaken one midway through. Still not enough. Absolutely nothing is going to stop me at this point. Not even this. He is fast, though. Act 3, a lot of the same. If I'm already beating the Act 3 bosses, are you really surprised that it also gives me no trouble? But the stage that everyone cares about is the heart fight, because there's one thing that is consistent with the randomizer. The final boss that you will fight is still the corrupt heart, and I needed to beat them in order to take down this leg of the challenge. Lagavulin as my Act 4 elite, probably not going to stand the test of time against this deck, but will the heart be able to take it down? Because the heart is an interesting fight in Slay the Spire, and it is like no other. There's no preparing for the heart fight just by having a good deck a lot of the time. You need to actually prepare specifically for that fight. And, well, I'll let you watch it in full, because I would absolutely love for you to witness the carnage and glory that happens. We gotta play this to perfection, chat. First, play your prostate. Second, play your secret technique. Grab an affordable omniscience. Now you're gonna play omniscience. To omniscience, the omniscience, to omniscience, the omniscience. To play, we went over this. 1 genetic algorithm, 1 omega, and 1 omega. So now we deal 200 damage a turn, hitting exactly the cap, and we have enough damage to fucking blow them. Hey, Jack. Blow me. Oh my god, it's so scary. Oh, blocked. Nice. Both of my genetic algorithms exhausted first time. What the hell is this? Can I get a scam trigger in chat? Scam! My slime doesn't exhaust, though. God damn. Look at this gamer, man. Look at this gamer. Do you see him, chat? Do you see this gamer? He's out here performing. Out here performing, baby. As a W. Number 1. Now on the Peglin, playing on Crucible 7, the hardest difficulty in that game, where you start out instead with stones with Infernorbs, the ones that deal damage to you every single time that you throw them. And because of that fact, my idea was to go in and attempt to find an early bully ball. It's a new orb in the game that gives you +1/+1 to that ball every single time that you take self-damage in a combat. It's a new orb added to the game, and I've already had great success with it with some red bomb runs, as you've seen on this channel, so I thought that it would actually work out perfectly, and I was kind of right. I pick up one of those bully balls rather early on in the run, and I think that I'm going to be golden. I even have a bold orb to deal some AoE damage, but then I end up having a very rough time early on against the Act 1 Elite fight, where it's a bunch of slimes and a rather large slime at the end of it, and so it makes me get to a little bit of low HP, and then I have to limp my way through the rest of Act 1, coming up against the boss that was luckily not the large-ass slime, and I was able to just fucking barely clutch out the win. Right. Yeah, Fire Orb and the bomb kills the main guy. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right. I take the Matri Orbshka relic from that boss fight, making all of my orb damage weaker, but every single orb upon impact on its first peg splits into 2, so it can collect up twice as much damage overall. I even say in the run at the time that I assumed that that might be my downfall, and, well, you'll see. I almost die again early on to an elite in Act 2, but I end up picking up 2 very key relics that supplement my damage. One, the Infernal Ingot. It halves your HP, but it makes it so every 5 pegs that you hit, you leech life 1 HP from whatever enemy you're targeting. 1 damage off of them, 1 heal to you. Helps me with the self-damage, as well as supplements out some of that damage that I was lacking, as well as immediately after that, finding a Mental Mantle, which is 1 damage to your target every 2 pegs hit, but it doesn't heal you. Either way, both incredibly supplemented my damage. My only problem, the Act 2 boss. The big, badass stone wall with 8,750 HP. He just walks at you, slowly, menacingly. And when he gets to you, he just kills you. There's no damage. You just gotta deal that much damage before he gets to you. And when your damage was as weak as mine, just was not possible. This time, instead of picking up that early bully ball that I was offered, I decided to go a different route and go with the shock absorber, another ball that I've been using recently in my videos that it gets its increased damage from detonating bombs. And it's actually something that I realize now in my narration, but I hope Andrew has put on the screen every single time and has made fun of me, and you've also made fun of me in the comments. Inferno orbs actually detonate bombs in one hits as well, so it made it fantastic to pair with the shock absorber in the run. This run sails through Act 1, doing pretty dang well, seeming really strong, duplicating the shock absorber, so we got 2 of them now, and then we go up against the hardest Act 1 boss of the 2, the big-ass slime. A boss that is actually very difficult to detonate bombs against, not allowing me to scale my absorbers, and then just ultimately flopping because I didn't have the damage. In the 3rd run, I quickly pick up a very important orb in Act 1. A Nose for Batu. Is it Nose for Batu?
Yes.
The Nose for Batu. Upon throwing this orb, you take a large amount of damage that increases the more that you use it, but then you heal based on how many pegs you hit. You deal damage to an enemy based on how much you healed at level 1, deal double damage based on how much you healed at level 2, and deal AoE to everyone in the entire fight at level 3. I leveled that thing up to level 3 like it was my damn job, which kind of it is if I'm a streamer and I play video games for a living. And then I duplicated that orb, so now I had 2 of them in my deck. So going into the Act 1 boss, I had double AoE healing damage. I just could not be stopped, could not be touched, and I made it look like it was easy. Or that's at least what I would have liked to have happened if I didn't have self-damage out the damn wazoo, and I died again. The next run fucking sucked. I walked my ass into the slime elite and fucking died. And I'll be honest, at this point, I was pretty much morally defeated. I had realized that maybe in this challenge, I had bitten off a little bit more than I could chew. But one person came in to save the day and pick up my spirits. Right around the end of that 4th life, Dan Giesling dropped a massive raid on my stream. Absolutely love Dan Giesling. And he picked up my mood. Honestly, Dan, if you're watching this, thank you so much. You genuinely did help me push forward and continue with the challenge. 2 lives left now, and I'm going in ready to fucking own. I start out by getting 3 extra bombs on each stage. With the Inferno Orbs insta-exploding them, it's gonna work out. Then I immediately run into a short fuse. Now every single orb that I have is going to instantly explode bombs as well. And then, after almost mauling into oblivion, I defeat the Minotaur. And I find the Bombulin, doubling my already +3'd bombs. This was looking like the run. I breeze through Act 1, and again, I pick up my match for Yorbska, the thing that helped me lose the last time to the giant wall, now paired with a countless number of bombs, surely should help me receive victory. On the literal 1st floor, I go up against the 3 mirrors. You deal double damage to these guys with all projectiles, but if you don't kill them, they reflect damage back to you. I had 115 health going into that fight. I left with around 50. Now, keep in mind that I still have the Inferno Orb, so every single time that I'm throwing out an orb, I'm still taking damage as well. But luckily, early on, right before I get into my first elite fight of Act 2, I find a Docked Orb, an orb that heals you based on the amount of pegs that you hit without damaging you, without damaging the enemy. But if you use it when it's a level 1, it goes away forever, kind of like a potion. But if you level it up, it sticks around for a little bit. Didn't want to spoil it for you. Kind of wanted to make it seem like that one was the run. I mean, it looked like godlike, right? Like I couldn't lose, but then, lo and behold, we'll leave it to frostprime to fuck it up again. Yeah, we're fucking gone. I'll even do this just for... Heal me. Heal me! My final Peglin life. This time, I combined 2 of the strong things that I've had over these past 5 runs, the Bully Ball and the Nose for Batu. The Bully Ball gaining a bunch of damage every time I deal self-damage to myself with my Inferno Orbs, and my Nose for Batu's keeping me tip-topped off, healthy, and ready to go on to the next fight. And I bowl through everything. I absolutely cream Act 1. I destroy Act 2. I make it all the way to the Act 3 boss. This is it. It's the final life. It's time to go on to Isaac. We're only 4 hours in. We got plenty of time left.
Hello there.
Hello, it's me. I'm the Super Sapper. It's time to start gifting my chat some subs. And after another death and another death, I decide that I need to keep doing the same thing that I was doing, except do it differently. You see that I kept taking the Matryorbska relic, but why not take the Matryorbska orb? I find 2 of them in Act 1 and level them both up to level 3 by the boss and find a glorious suffering from said boss. It makes it so all of your orbs deal less damage upon firing, but level up every single peg so that if you hit that peg again after refreshing the board, it will start dealing monstrous amounts of damage, scaling literally infinitely. So when my Matryorbskas are going out there and dealing 0-0 damage from the start, but then are dealing 800 damage on the second floor after picking up that relic, I would say it was a pretty good idea. The name of the game now is removal, getting down to as few amount of orbs as possible so I can keep firing off those Matryorbska as soon as possible. Because the only time that this deck feels weak now is when I'm using literally anything else. Luckily, though, the Infernorbs with the ability to kill bombs in one hit are still very useful in a lot of fights, especially against the shielded enemies in Act 2. And right before the Act 1 boss, we end up finding a Mental Mantle, which was extremely necessary in defeating the boss. Even with my shitty targeting and almost throwing the run myself, we managed to limp our way through the Act 2 boss with just 16 HP. We end up taking the Kinetic Meteorite as our boss relic in Act 2, which says that until you refresh the board on every single throw, every few bounces, it'll shoot up like it just exploded off of a bomb. In Act 3, 2 key things are found. 1, the Infernal Ingot, that supplemental damage combined with the Mental Mantle, on top of finding an Overwhammer. If we kill one thing, we're going to deal damage to the thing behind it. So that means that when we're using our Matryorbskas, we can deal a bunch of damage to a bunch of people instead of just having to wait and take damage from the enemies until we get back to our good orbs. We do actually get to duplicate our Matryorbska too, so going into the final boss, we've removed a few orbs as well as now we have 3 of the key winners that are going to help us achieve victory. This time we end up getting the QR code. Thank fucking God. I don't know if we would have beaten the Super Sapper. God fucking damn, does that guy suck. And we breezed through it. We don't almost die or anything. It wasn't, like I sucked my balls up inside of me again. It wasn't like that. It was totally, I was in control the whole time. I was fine. It was confident. I was, it was good. They're dead. They're both dead. They're actually both dead. They're gone. Dead. Dead to death. No longer alive. And at this point, we were at 6 hours in the gauntlet, which I had not expected to happen. My chat is on a bunch of subs, and I still have what is arguably the most difficult leg of the race left to complete. I have to complete a Tainted Lost run to Ubermom. And if you don't know the significance of the Tainted Lost, he's essentially a character that is a one-hit kill. You get 1 mulligan hit through a holy card, and you can find more throughout the run if you're very lucky. But essentially, if you get hit once with actual damage, you're dead. Kaput. The run is over. There's very few things in the game that are going to protect you because the Tainted Lost also gets better items, which means it's actually better items in a lot of ways. He can't get items that are like health upgrades, which are non-beneficial to him, or flight upgrades or spectral tiers, items that literally do not help him in any way, but he also can't get key items like extra lives or the Holy Mantle protection, things like that. The first run already looks promising just 30 minutes in. I get the combo of technology and Mom's Knife, a combo that is extremely deadly. There's only one caveat. Rather early on, at the end of the flooded caves, I lose my Holy Mantle. I am now 1 hit from dead. At any point, anything can touch me, and I'm gone. I get all the way to the mom floor. I've got the trinket that's a little red blob that shoots his own tech knife as well. And I die to a fucking moving spike. The spike rock is waiting for you. After all of the things that I had gone through in that run, almost an hour wasted in the gauntlet, that fucking sucks. But we move on to life number 2. This one early on has nothing going for it other than the fact that it has a bunch of tiers and I find a Sacred Orb, which guarantees me high quality items for the rest of the run. But unfortunately, 20 minutes into the run, on the ass pit level, you can't even see what happens. It's behind my webcam. I die to some bone fly or some shit. I probably knew what it was at the time, but looking at it back, I got no fucking clue. Life number 3. Item room number 1. To die to Plum. That's what I think of that. Fuck that run. Run number 4. Super early in, I've already got 2 pieces of Guppy. If I get the 3rd, I transform into the most OP character in the entire game. I'm still the Tainted Lost, though, and I'll still die in one hit. But it's already hard enough for the Tainted Lost to get Guppy as it is, because items like 9 lives and Guppy's collar aren't available for the character. So to have those 2 pieces this early on was insane. By the way, I also defeated Plum on this run. Fuck Plum. Fuck you, bitch. Then the downpour comes around, and the Lost/Tainted Lost God item appears. Damocles. An item that is killer for any other character in any other run, but the Lost loves to bathe in the pain. Double items is on the way. I did, however, lose my Holy Mantle on that floor, so it wasn't looking great unless I could turn things around quickly. On the next floor, I find the Ventricle Razor, an item that lets the Tainted Lost access cursed rooms, something that he's not usually privy to. Another reason why it's even harder for him to get Guppy. But now I can go into it. And what do I find in the first cursed room that I enter into? Now, 50% of the time, when I land a tier on an enemy, I spawn a fly. Those flies dealing double or 3x my damage. I can't remember. Andrew, put the stat on screen. Basically, I am a fucking machine. I destroy everything. If I can dodge, if I can weave, if I can duck, if I can dodge, I can win it here and now. With an hour and 20 minutes to spare. This time, I get my Holy Mantle back. This time, I get the Glowing Hourglass, arguably the best spacebar item in the entire game for this character. If I lose my Holy Mantle, I just press spacebar and I go back to the room beforehand and I get another shot. I even had an extra Holy card in the books. I even had Birthright, which is the only item that you can get on the Tainted Lost that gives you an extra life. So essentially, when I go into the Ubermom fight, I get hit, I use my Holy card. I get hit again, I revive. And then finally, I have to use my Glowing Hourglass to make it out of the fight and to get all of those hits back, get all of that tribe back, get everything back into Mulligan. And I get to the Ubermom fight with batteries left on the floor, with rooms left uncompleted. So not only will I get those multiple hits off in the fight, but I will also get multiple tries of the fight to complete it. There's no way that I can lose. It's in the books. It's in the bag. The God Gamer has done it. Try number 1. I get a little bit unlucky, let's say. I have to Glowing Hourglass out. I was just about to win. I swear to God I was going to do it, but I got a little nervous. I didn't want to overshoot it, and so I dip out. I go collect my full charge, and I try it again. Try number 2. I turn on Megalovania. This time for sure, I'm warmed up at this point. I may not have played Isaac in a few weeks, but there's absolutely no way that I'm going to die to Ubermom with this many mulligan hits. It's not going to happen. As it turns out, it is going to happen. I ended up, once again, feeling like I was pretty close to the end of the fight, but I took a little bit too much damage, and I, once again, used the Glowing Hourglass for safety. I go get yet another full charge, and I head my way back on in. There's no way that I lose a 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm. Number 3's been my lucky number my entire life. I'm fucking Guppy for crying out loud. I got 3 out of 3 of that, too. There's no way that I lose a 3rd time. Not a damn chance. And I didn't lose, because I teleported out again with my Glowing Hourglass. Losing would be if I died. I just quit. It's like the Americans in Vietnam. I go get yet another full charge to try again at the Ubermom fight for a 4th time. 4th time's the charm, right? I got it for sure this time. I just got the Glowing Hourglass because I like the color blue. I'm actually not scared of dying this time because it's that fucking easy. This time, Gangplank Galleon is soaring in the background, the song that I used to nuke my entire chat to oblivion. This time, for sure.
Nope.
I'm going to teleport out. I'm going to for sure teleport out once I take way too much damage. I just jump straight back in because I know that this is it. I want to keep up the momentum. I don't want to give Ubermom some time to recover her HP. I jump back on in. And right before the end of the fight, I swear to you, just seconds off, that was the run. I had everything. Bunch of extra hits. I was Guppy. I only had 40 minutes left to complete the challenge. And remember what I said earlier on? That there was no way to increase the time. And then I said, well, wait, there kind of is. The only way that I can increase the time is if I start the run before 9 hours. If I start a run at 9 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, that run counts. That rule was established at the beginning of the contest. I can actually show you the clip. It's not like I was just making it up at the end in order to be able to hopefully get a chance to not tattoo my face. It was a legitimate rule. There's actually stipulations on how to lose. If I start the last run, let's say I've beaten Peglin, I've beaten Slay the Spire, and I start a Binding of Isaac run at 8 hours and 59 minutes, it counts. Right? It's about the start of the run, not the end of the run. And I planned on using it if I had to. The next 2 runs are utter disaster. I start off with garbage items. I'm tilted at this point. I die rather early on. And at this point, all 6 of my natural lives have been used up. Every life after this, I owe my chat 5 subs. No run is even getting on the board at this point. I'm tilted. I'm done. I just don't want to continue after that absolutely godlike run fell. I was completely demoralized. 15 subs into gifting my chat. 3 extra lives later, I finally get a decent run started. I'm on the ass pit level, and there's 3 minutes left until 9 hours. And once that 9 hours mark crosses, that run is completely locked in. There's no going back. My chat is counting down the minutes, counting down the seconds. And at 8 hours, 58 minutes, and 25 seconds, I die. Oh, teleport on top of me. Good thing we got a minute and a half left. This next run was it. It crosses over the 9-hour mark. There's no going back. This run looks unbelievably promising. I've got the deck of cards to give me more holy cards. I've got a tarot cloth. I've got bloody recharge, 2 9-volts. I've got a fucking car battery, for crying out loud. I end up finding a Mega Mush and a spin down. But the floor before the mom's heal fight, I lose my last holy card because I decided to take that Mega Mush and the spin down because I was getting a little bit greedy, getting a little bit cocky. So I'm 1 hit away from death, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous. But there was one thing that I had found with the spin down dice. I had found an R key so that I could restart the run. It doesn't give me an extra holy card, but you'll be damned if I'm not going to play as safe as possible because everything's on the line at this point. So I restart, giving up my spin down dice, traveling with just the Mega Mush at this point. Can I still lose? On the first floor, we not only find a disgustingly broken and fun combo, but we also find the bottle of pills, which we also have starter deck, by the way, the item that turns every single pill into a card, and it's a 6 recharge spacebar item, so that is literally essentially now just a deck of cards with a different reskin. We've got our holy cards back, if we can find one. It takes us all the way to the fucking ash pit to find the holy card. My butthole was so goddamn puckered at that point, I might as well have shoved a couple of sour warheads up the goddamn thing. But I make it through. And at 10 hours and 14 minutes into the run of the God Gamer Gauntlet, I make it to the mom fight for the last time. And she doesn't fucking stand a chance. I have Mega Mush, man. I mean, what did you expect? It's a broken item. It's just not fair. It really, honestly, like, I scammed the God Gamer Gauntlet at this point. I don't really know if I even deserve this win, but I'm gonna fucking take it, man. Fuck that tattoo. I ain't putting it on my face. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, give it a comment. Subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let me know if this is the kind of content that you like. I don't plan on doing this for every video. This takes a lot of time out of my life and Andrew's life, but I do like making this more highly made, highly edited, and produced content every now and then. So if you like it, please let me know. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.